just a lot to juggle. And then now you're starting a podcast. And I'm like, but to me, it's like, I know.
I was laughing because my sister was literally like, tell me you're not starting a podcast. Like, tell me you're not trying to start. What are you thinking?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, but it's like this is what makes me happy.
Yeah. You're good at self-care.
Yes.
This is the kind of stuff that fuels my self-care bucket.
Yes.
I don't need bubble baths.
Yeah.
Although I think they're nice.
Yeah.
I don't need like masks and alone time.
Yeah.
I need to be like, man, I got to do something fun with my friend today that pursued something that like I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Podcast day.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
These are my favorite days, by the way. I love these.
How do you feel now that we've officially started? Were you as giddy as I was when I saw?
Yes, I was.
It was like 11 at night, and I saw like on Apple or
I know. Well, it's kind of
really
official.
Yes.
And
kind of.
Yeah. Well, okay, it is official.
Yeah.
No, it was like really cool to see, but at the same time, it's so awkward hearing your own voice.
Oh my gosh.
And like, and the camera side, I think is what like
I agree.
But it's fun. I think it's really it's exciting.
I have to get out of my head. I've talked to you about that a lot, but it's like, you don't want to like do a podcast and then hate listening to it, but also I'm trying to like not squeal or, I'm so aware because it's on camera as well of just like, I'm such a mover and I want to like, I'm very talkative with my hands and I want to shake and, now I'm like, I gotta be still.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be as calm as Jessica for the next 3 minutes until this coffee kicks in.
Exactly. No, we don't want you calm. No. So anything fun happened this week? I mean, gosh, it's the last week of school for you guys, which is nuts to me that it's already summer.
Yeah,
I'm not ready.
Taking the vacation right before Mother's Day / May-cember / like just everything that happens in May, because it's like we kind of came back and it was like, okay, and this weekend we're wrapping up of this. We have exams and we've got Mother's Day, and then Mother's Day happened, and then like we got class parties because school ending, and
literally, it's like playing dodgeball.
It literally
and getting hit by like 50 dodges.
And there's no presents. Like December's crazy, but with holiday parties, but I love it.
Yes.
Like I love December chaos because it's like it's like social party. And I love that because we don't do that any other time of the year.
Yep.
And then you get presents. Yeah. Which I know is not what Christmas is about, guys. It is about the birth of our
very
Lord and Savior.
Enjoyable. Yeah.
But I love presents.
Yeah, I know.
So thank you, Jesus.
It's funny because between you and I, we're both gift givers. Totally. And I think that's our love language. Yeah. We love gifts, FYI. Yeah. And we love to give them.
Oh my gosh.
That is how we share.
You're the best gift
with
giver.
Everyone.
You and another friend of mine. Like you guys
I
really
love looking for stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like, unless you're like, oh man, I've always wanted this. Like I have a hard time, I feel like, knowing what people really want, because I want to buy what I want to buy for them, and not necessarily true. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I love that, so they'll love that. Yes. But then I don't know if they really will. You know?
Oh my God. Okay, so funny story. Whenever me and JB first started dating, he is the most practical gift giver. Yeah. He's learning. He is learning, which I appreciate. The last 2 gifts he's given me has been really awesome. But I remember, I think it was like our first Christmas together or something. And I think he got me like a toothbrush, like an electric toothbrush. And I literally was like, first, are you trying to tell me something? Like, second, like, it's amazing. What? You know? And then it's kind of like he'll give me like bath towels, or I think it was things for my house, because I had a house at the time. And I live by myself. But it was just funny because I'm like, dude, like, do you
Kenny's, I would say he's on the practical spectrum. He'll be like, but you don't need anything. And I'm like, oh, honey.
Yeah. You're like, but
gifts are not about what you need.
Something.
They're not about, like, because the reality of that statement, while it's so true, like no one ever in, I think, our world circles, because yes, in our world, but like, what do we need?
Right.
So... No, gifts are fun and they're supposed to be like weird. Yes. But Kenny's a little bit more like, well, I got you that vacuum like right before your birthday. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like he did that like 2 years ago. He was like, you got the new Dyson you wanted. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I would not have bought that if I knew that was my quote unquote birthday gift. And he's like, but you wanted it. You use the vacuum all the time. And I'm like, oh, this conversation's getting worse.
Yeah, you're like, keep digging.
Breaking it down.
Keep breaking it down.
Yeah, maybe you should use it and I'll give it to you for
and that is
Day.
your present.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten over the years that we've been together, it's like now I've become this practical gift giver because I know he loves that and he appreciates it. So, but it's so funny because he's always like, you give me gifts for us. And I'm like, you're correct.
Yes.
So it's like new sheets because I know you're very particular about sheets, but I want really good sheets as well for myself. Yeah. So,
I should give Kenny for Father's Day.
Oh God, that is coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Well, it's hard maybe for them because I don't understand, again, they don't really need anything. And JB's not a shopper. He doesn't need clothes or he doesn't want clothes. So it's hard so that's why I'm like, I think Kenny's so easy to buy for. We need pool toys. So
yeah, that's true. It's like a functional family. I get that. I get a family gift. I think that's super great. Mm-hmm. How oh my gosh, the summer coming, our kids end today. Mm-hmm. Today is final day, so we're sneaking this in. Which I love doing this. This is probably my favorite time is getting to talk and chat with you because this is what we always do.
Yes.
Yet now it's just being recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love that because it's just doesn't feel like pressure, you know?
Yes.
But then you have another week before summer.
So they go back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which typically they only go back a half day because all of their parties start around noon. Yeah. And, you can sign them out early. And of course, my kids want to be signed out early. So, but gosh, Brantley has his 5th grade graduation breakfast Thursday. Yeah. And it's just crazy to think that he's already going to middle school. Yeah. I know you already have one in middle school about to go to high school.
Yeah.
But this is it's
whole new ball game.
I'm going to have I'm going to have, different schools, two different schools. And that just is going to be an adjustment.
I'm in 4 different schools.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah,
why have I not realized that?
Which is why I zone out when the teachers email 12 times a day. I don't know.
I don't know which.
I don't even know what kid you're talking about most of the time because a lot of the teachers, as sweet as they are, and God bless our teachers, you guys are killing it out there, and I have so much respect for you pouring your life into our children. But they will send emails that they're just and love Mr. blah blah blah, or and I'm like, yeah, what kid? Yeah, because it's it all goes into our school district, the email. So then I'm looking, I don't know which one of my kids has this teacher. Oh my gosh. Really does. It's confusing.
So I legit have to have, and I only have 3.
Yeah.
So I have these whiteboards.
Don't say only.
I mean, I know, but well, you have 3 in school too. So that, but I have these the little bitty whiteboards.
Yeah.
That I have Velcroed to our refrigerator.
Yeah.
And so I have one for each kid. And then on one side, I have their teachers. I have their schedule, what specials they have which day. Gosh. It is awesome. And then I have I kind of divide it in half. And then I can write on with a whiteboard pen, a dry erase marker. On the other side, when their homework is due, what project they have, that kind of thing. Girl, it is the only way that I have mental clarity and sanity.
No, and that would otherwise I don't know. Would fog up my already overdrived brain. It's almost I can't. And I've told them early on is your schoolwork is gonna have to be a responsibility. If you need help with something, if you have homework, I want you to keep track of your tests because there's no way. I just feel I can't function. But also I love the organizational aspect of doing a family calendar. I really have been I think for a year and a half been between I think there's a hearth, which you have. Yeah. My friend has the skylight, but now there's a skylight max. Ooh. But I don't like the I think the hearth is prettier than the skylight max. Yeah. But I'm obsessed with the features, I feel of the skylight.
It is super helpful.
Yes. And it's importing all the calendars, done. Everyone has their own color, great, done. Chore charts, cool. Because every summer I get really ambitious.
So do I.
Okay. Well, you get
I get, but it doesn't really always work.
Well, I want a bucket list. I want something fun. Yes. What are some things you really do want to do this summer?
Yeah.
And then I want okay. And to keep us organized, we'll, do a chore chart here and every Friday this, and you'll get a reward at the end of the week. And then I think by June, middle June, I'm
And
this
we're
sucks.
done. I know.
It's too hot.
And we're done.
And I lost all of and then,
the motivation wears off very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like harder to keep, I do it on paper and that kind of thing too. So they'll be like, I did it. And I'm like, no, you didn't. I just walked upstairs and no, you didn't. You did not clean. And they're like, yes, I did. And it's like that managing, which obviously I'm not super great at, but I really do think I'm just going to bite the bullet and get one of them.
Yeah. I will say the Hearth has been super helpful. Mainly, okay, so for us, the biggest takeaway is I love the calendar view because I get to sit with all the different practices.
Right. That is what I want to keep track of. Practices or like if there's big projects and it's like half the time I have to check daily because it's like seeing it all feels overwhelming. But.
Right. That has been helpful. And then also the routines. So it has to where you can create different routines. And so we have like a morning routine for school that they legit know. They open up their routine.
And I'm so visual. And I feel like for years I'd be like, okay, you got to wake up. You got to put your shoes on, brush your teeth, get your backpack, get your water bottle. And I think if you were to do that, I'd be like, but if you're like checklist, like you see it visually every morning, you kind of know steps. Go to the bathroom, brush my teeth. And I don't know why it's taken me so long to do it, but I'm like, I really want to do just like plunge. A simple. Yeah. Oh, no,
Bite the bullet.
I have indecision paralysis, which is where I'm like, ooh, and then there's a new one that came out, and I just will sit there and compare, and then years go by, and I'm like, I'm an idiot.
You're like, and I should have.
I would have just done it 2 years ago, but it's like I really want the big size, but I want the like import feature, and I want, and so I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I love because I don't know anything really about the skylight.
Yeah.
Which I think they both have this feature to where, so I actually have all of their stuff on my phone, and it immediately updates the Hearth. So literally the calendar in your phone already.
Right.
I add it in there. I don't even add it on the Hearth.
Can you like take a picture of it and it just automatically does it?
No,
because I'm obsessed with that feature.
Yeah,
like let's say you get like
really cool.
You know how they do like during the school year, everyone's like, and today we're gonna wear purple for Purple Frog Day, and then you're like, great, now I can't remember the.
Yeah, no, I have to manually input it.
So that is like anytime you get a calendar, you just put it like you send it to Skylight, and it automatically puts it.
Oh, see, that's a good feature.
Okay, so now I'm sold. I'll frame out my Skylight, I guess. Skylight, you should sponsor Femme Formula because we are here for organizational content.
I might have to convert.
Am I allowed to say stuff like that?
Yes, you
Use
can.
brand names? Is anyone going to knock on my door if I say something inappropriate?
No.
Okay.
No, there's no police about that.
Good. Do not come arrest me.
Well, welcome everybody. We are just playing a little catch up and
getting ready for gearing this summer.
Getting ready for gearing up for this summer. We wanted to talk a little bit about today, just with the mom guilt, especially with summer coming up and you feel like you've got to do all the things, right? I struggle with that big time with owning a business and pursuing different passions and still pursuing like my own personal goals now with the children home all the time. And you feel like you have to entertain them constantly. I don't know. I just struggle with that. And I still have not been able to find a good rhythm outside of just making like those lists, and prioritizing like a task here and there or whatever. But it's just been, it's been an adjustment.
Yeah.
I think just trying to gear up and getting that mindset with my kids about to get out of school.
Yeah.
And knowing what's ahead. Like, and all the camps and everything that,
this is the good scheduling stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I always kind of drop the ball, and then like midsummer, I'm like, oh, okay, what do we have? Like, but it feels between sports schedules, sports in Texas, if you're unfamiliar. Nope, no one's probably not listening from Texas, but like,
you never
know. They're kind of like year round, right? Like baseball is kind of a year round sport here. Yep. So it's like we kind of don't end, and it's a really weird thing to be like I remember last summer because our other middle two went straight into tackle football. We had about maybe a week and a half, 2 week break. Also a current hurricane came. And that was the only time the entire year that we didn't have a sports commitment. And as soon as we got back into town and we cleaned a mess from the hurricane stuff and, maybe a couple of days went by, we had our first football practice. And it's like,
and it's so hot.
It's just the weirdest life to be like, you know, and I know that not everybody's kids play sports, but the ones that do play certain sports, or even like, I know travel soccer is so intense. I mean, I have friends that play softball. I mean, so I would say like most sports now just take up so much time but yeah, I think there's a reprieve we're all looking for like a lack of schedule, but yet enough schedule to where we're not pulling our hair out, you know? Because I think that like in my house, it's like going to be like DEFCON 5.
Yeah. It's like 2 days and they're like, oh my God,
what are we going to do?
Yeah, I just wish they would go back.
Yeah. No, but I was talking to an adorable little friend the other day who's, you know, super young, you know, obviously no kids, you know, not married, but when we were just talking about like, you know, life as a mom, and she came from a bigger family, and you know, like it was a joyous family, and just like, do I want kids? Because I want to make sure I can still pursue things, and that's hard, and that I think has always been what, you know, is harder for me in motherhood is I didn't like, I love my family and my children, obviously, and I make jokes about like, I just didn't even think I wanted kids growing up, but like, I really didn't. Like, it wasn't something that I think I was like, and one day I'll be a mom. Like, it just wasn't. My sisters, yes, they talked about it all the time. And they talked about getting married, and I wasn't. So I think that like when, you know, I was about to get married, it's like, oh, cool, we're going to do this. Like, I'm actually going to get married. Like, I'm getting married. Like, it felt so weird because I was for so long like, no, I'm going to live abroad. I'm going to pursue all these dreams. Like, I've had that list, and we talked about that, like these lifelong lists that you want to accomplish. And, you know, then you have kids, and it is like the greatest dang blessing on the planet. And it's like the best life-giving, you know, sacrifice and servitude, and you learn so much about yourself. And it's like, I, you know, would recommend it if you ever want kids, because it's like they are my life. But then I have that part of me that's like, but I want to pursue so many things without giving up being a mom, like without giving up like not being there. And I think that is what can be.
Isn't there like a saying to where it's like whenever you have children, it's like dying to your old self or something? Like, what is there?
I think people talk about that with like Christ, like dying to yourself for sure. And I think, to your point, for sure with moms.
But I also feel like you shouldn't, I mean, one, we evolve, right?
Yeah.
Like, we are constantly evolving into and progressing forward in our life, right? But I don't think that we should technically completely die to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, when we become a mom, like, there's still some of us in there that I think that it is such a struggle to not lose yourself in motherhood. And then the guilty side of like, if you are pursuing something outside of motherhood, like that is for just you.
Yes.
You almost feel guilty.
Totally.
For doing that.
Totally.
Because you're like, well, you're supposed to be
like kind of diving into them.
Right.
That was when the kids were really little, that was something I really struggled with, because it was like, I wanted to be there. The time. I want to be like the best mom. I always make jokes too. Like, I don't want them in therapy. Like, I want to be this most present. I want to have the fun.
Everybody probably
They're probably going to be in therapy. I had a friend not too long ago was like, let me break it down for you. They're going to be in therapy. So just give it up.
I mean, I had a really good life, and I'm in therapy.
Yeah. So. I think that there's a truth to that. Like, I think just like, I want so much for them. I want so much for their life. I want so much for my life. Like, I feel like God gave us this little blip here on earth. So I'm like, I want to accomplish it all. But then the guilt comes in, and it's just like, oh, but if you say yes to that, you're not with them, or you miss out on that, you're not with them. And, but I do think that, like, you know, the reality is everyone's different. So my sister, she's extremely talented, extremely creative. I say she's the creative one in the family for sure. But like, she's enjoying motherhood. She doesn't want to leave. She doesn't ever want to be away from him. She doesn't desire to do, you know, things. She's very comfortable inside the house, and just like, that
I was like that.
That is kind of like, but this is my gig,
right?
You know, and I'm going to go up to this school, and it's like, I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can pour into your kid for the time that you have them, that, you know, as much as you can, and with your schedule with one kid, and I'm like, do it. But then for me, it's like, I want to bring you lunch, and then I want to make sure I'm writing a book or like, and then I want to make sure I do all these other things. And I want to make sure I look back and say, I gave everything to everybody, which obviously is.
Well, it's funny because I have so many people that sometimes will come up and be like, I don't know how you do it all, because you're running a business and then kids are in sports and you're at every event and you try to like go to all the school events and you drop them off, you pick them up and all these things. And it's just a lot to juggle. And then now you're starting a podcast. And I'm like, but to me, it's like, I know.
I was laughing because my sister was literally like, tell me you're not starting a podcast. Like, tell me you're not trying to start. What are you thinking?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, but it's like this is what makes me happy.
Yeah. You're good at self-care.
Yes.
This is the kind of stuff that fuels my self-care bucket.
Yes.
I don't need bubble baths.
Yeah.
Although I think they're nice.
Yeah.
I don't need like masks and alone time.
Yeah.
I need to be like, man, I got to do something fun with my friend today that pursued something that like I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And if it like,
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is I think if there's something that you do want to pursue that will make you so happy to your core.
Yes.
That is outside of motherhood, you should do it.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think that, we only get one life, right? Like, and this is, we don't know how much time we have on this earth. And so the older I get, the more I am coming to, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's just see where it goes. And not only that, I was talking to a friend the other day, about, because she's interested, she, already has like one kind of gig. She's interested in doing something else on top of being a mom and being at all the sports events and things like that. And she's like struggling with, should I do it? That's like just another creative outlet that I'm, trying to pursue. And I was like, just do it. Like, I think it's good for our kids to see us pursuing something outside of motherhood and outside of, like the home, if it makes us happy.
And I do, because I never want to negate the people that are like, man, but like my job or my calling right now is to just like do what I feel called to do, which is to be a full-time mom, because that to me is still worthy and valid. And it's like, we need that. And I like,
yes, I will say on my kind of, insane, stressful days, I do every so often think like, why on earth am I doing this to myself? Because I am. Then it's like,
oh my gosh, I'm like a child. You give me 2 days with nothing to do. Even when I if I ever get sick and I have to be in bed for 2 days, I'm literally like, what am I going to do when I get out of this bed and I feel better and I don't have because there's so much. And and maybe because death, this is so dark. And I just totally brought that up. But like, maybe because death was such a fear of our families growing up, like having someone who like could get, super sick and like not make it. My dad was diagnosed with cancer at like a young age. And so he was young and then we were super young. He wasn't supposed to live. So there was like this like crash fear all the time of like, he couldn't get the flu because he had no spleen. So like if he ever got if our ever family got really sick, he'd have to go out of town.
Right.
He'd like stay in a hotel or he'd be like, I just can't. Like his body couldn't fight it. There were certain things along the way. And there was always just this like, what if? What if the cancer came back? What if he got sick? What if? And so in some ways, because we all know that that's such a reality for any of us.
Yeah.
I do live on that like, God, if my lifeline ends at any point, like I just want it to be so worth it. And I don't want to waste opportunities. So like, there are times I think we've said this before, but with like my sister and I being different personalities and she's like, well, when my kid is all grown up, then you and I will go do this. And I'm like, yeah, if we're able,
right.
If I'm around. And I know that sounds a little morbid, but there was this, I always say that because I'm like, we only have now. And I'm such a risk taker now because I'm like, this is all we got. And you never know.
Well,
and if you try it and you hate it and it doesn't work out, I was talking to my sister the other day and she was just like, I don't know what I want to do. And I'm like, I totally get it.
Right.
But if you don't try it, you don't know. And then you're sitting on this like waste of opportunity.
Yes.
And because I'm like, I don't know if we're going to be around when your kid's in high school and my kid's all done with school. And then we go to take our dream trip. To me, that sounds like my nightmare.
Yeah.
Like what if I can't walk and my hip goes out? What if I get diagnosed? And not to be morbid, but I read this article and this woman was talking about like, I get told often, you can't take that trip again. Like you guys can't afford it and blah, 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 blah. And this whole article was about like, but I can't afford not to. Like I can't afford to not risk these. And I don't mean to get into like crazy situations, but I do believe like, let's go for it. And like,
Well,
do what makes you happy.
You don't know when you'll have another chance. Really, honestly, like I think that's super important. And the older I get, the more I'm like embracing that. Like even with this podcast, you know, we've been wanting to do this for 6 years. And it got to the point where we're like, why not just do it? We were talking about it, you know, for so long. And I mean, there's all these insecurities with it and there's all these fears and worries, right?
The sound of my voice.
I love the sound of
your voice. I love it. So ridiculous.
I love it. No, I love it. But like to me, you know, like why not? Like why not? If we fail, we fail. It doesn't matter. Right. Like we at least put ourselves out there and we at least pursued it, you know?
And in the process have gotten to spend so much time together. So to me,
out of anything that has been that has been the benefit that has been the best thing out of it is regardless of if we don't ever post anything or we you know no one listens.
Well, and we get to connect on each other's lives again and still feel like, oh, I'm doing that too. And I think that's what we wanted. We wanted to just be like, like no one's alone out there. Everyone has their different dreams and passions and goals, but we all at the end of the day are looking for kind of the same thing. You know, we want to be great moms, you know, and great wives and continue on
and good friends.
Yeah. I love it.
I know. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. We are going to talk about a little more about mom guilt and why men typically do not feel guilty.
And cut.
But we will be right back, and we are going to touch base on like summer stuff and, you know, more motherhood, pursuing your passions and things like that.
Cool.
So, stay tuned.
Okay, welcome back.
Yeah.
That was such a great break. We didn't stop talking.
I know. I do feel like the coffee helps kind of like get the, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I love coffee.
Going. So do I.
I wish I didn't love the taste of it so much because I think there are probably healthier ways to like implement caffeine. Like Shaylee will be like, can you just have some matcha?
Oh,
like,
I've tried that.
Me too.
Yeah. I did it for a little while because I couldn't do coffee.
I feel like I'm licking grass with like a little oat milk.
Oh God.
Like it's okay.
It's okay. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a point in time where I really did like it, but I can't get back
I have
there.
drank it when I'm like trying to not drink like, and so I'll be like, okay. And I do love like hot tea, but like, do I love it as much as coffee? No. Would I drink hot tea ever over coffee? Nope.
I feel like the only time I drank tea was whenever I was pregnant because I still needed something.
Yeah. I drink it when I'm sick. Yeah. Oh, you didn't drink caffeine at all? Like no espresso when you that's why my kids are so crazy.
That is not why they're so crazy.
I was like 9 months pregnant like this.
Give me more caffeine. Hook it up to an IV. Just right here. No, I like, okay, I take that back. I feel like I probably drank a little bit of coffee.
I think if you don't remember enough to even remember if you drank a little bit of, I'm like.
I just have the worst memory, so I wouldn't even like really put on that.
I do now.
Oh, my memory is terrible.
I think there's a supplement for that I've been hearing.
I know.
Let us know what it is.
I really do feel like you're right. There's several that I feel like there was even one that I took for a little while, but I didn't notice the difference. But no, so
great.
I was laughing this morning because you were texting me and you were like, oh my gosh, like Maverick had, you know, like a school thing and I didn't know about it. And then I was like, you know, we were debating on, should we even record today because we need to go here. I just like, I laugh because I feel like we're all there, especially right now with all the end of school stuff, that you just feel so guilty not being at all the children's events.
And like the last 2 weeks have like sucked it out of me because, you know, I'm like in the office trying to work. I get like an email and like, oh, we're going to have a class party. We're going to do this and we're going to have to feel it. And make sure you take them home after. It's like the party's at 9 a.m.
Yep.
Like, and then I'm supposed to take them home after. But I still have work to do.
Yeah.
I've got, you know, projects I'm working on. And then it's like another email comes through and it's like, sometimes I do think they treat, even in some sports, because I think one of the baseball coach kind of does this, but it's like the parents don't work or that they can just drop anything at any given time and they only have one child. And sometimes it's like,
oh gosh, yes.
You know, if I don't make it, I'm the one that feels guilty. Mm-hmm. I feel like I should have been there.
Yep.
I can't believe I missed him eating a donut with his friends. Not caring if I'm there.
I know.
At all.
I know.
But like this morning, and I'm glad I went, and I'm glad I picked him up, and he really was like, okay, I'm glad you, like, we got to the car, and he's like, oh, I'm glad you came, and I'm like, were you? Okay, because I literally shaved a year off my life stressing about like your breakfast that it's your last day of school. You already had a half day, and now I'm supposed to take you home. Whatever. And then, but like my husband doesn't stress.
No.
He's like, I got work to do. I'm not. Like, no, I'm not going to your program at 9, like for 10 minutes, the program. I mean, if it was an actual program, but you know what I mean? Like you're like, he doesn't carry it. No. It's like, oh, I forgot, but that stinks. But I mean, I had work to do.
Well, I think it's also because they are in like, well, I provide for the family. I'm in this mode. Like I'm here. They're typically there 8 to 5 or whatever. Kenny's like 4:30 in the morning. You know, so, but it boggles my mind because yes, like if I miss a single thing with the kids because I have to go work.
But don't your kids go like, Mom, you weren't there? Yes. They're not like, Dad, like it's always like, Mom, like there were other moms there and there was?
Yeah.
When?
Oh my gosh. So we had Super Kids Day earlier this month and it was the day that it like rained like crazy, kind of like mid-morning, right? So I was there with Beckett, second and third grade went at a certain time and then and then fourth and fifth went later on in the day. So with having 3 children, I was going to be there, I think, from like 10 a.m. to like 2 p.m. just to, you know,
at least they're all in one location.
That is true. That's going to change. But at the same time, it's like, you know, JB's working at home. He's fine. Yeah. Like he doesn't have... So Brady wants me to come eat lunch with her, but I'm there with Beckett. She's calling me on her watch, like, Mom, where are you? You know, it starts pouring down rain. Everybody has to go inside. Yeah. And then they had to like postpone or reschedule fourth and fifth grade. Well, I had to work at the studio. Like I covered the front desk. So I couldn't make fourth and fifth grade, you know, Super Kids Day. So, of course, they're like, you're not coming to mine? Right. You're not going to take us home early? And I'm just like,
that was like anytime I brought them lunch. It was like, well, are you going to bring me lunch? And I'm like, bro, that's my whole, then I really can't.
Oh, no. Yeah. But if I have to, even on birthdays, if I am there for one, I have to stay for all. Yeah. Yeah. It's brutal. And again, I'm like, why do we do this to ourselves? Like, why do we carry that guilt? Because honestly, well, and I will say my mom, you know, my parents worked full time and they worked like in Houston. They were 45 minutes away or 45 minutes away. And so my mom does say she has guilt for not being able, you know, to be at certain things and stuff. And so she really was wanting me to be a stay-at-home mom and really push me because you don't get those years back. But at the same time, I don't really remember her not being there. You know, like I don't carry that with me. Yeah. Like she was there all the other times. Yeah. I still felt loved. Like, you know, so.
And I think that's where it comes in. So like women hold all the guilt because that's just like, I don't know how we're wired and we feel like we have to just like do it all and we have to be the present. But then I really think the answer to this is just that like, if you're providing a loving environment for your kid and you're doing things outside of all that, then like if you don't make it to everything or you're missing, like it's okay. And I think letting them know, like, I won't be at like literally everything, but I'll be here when you get home. Yes. And I think I've really fought over the years for that schedule. Yeah. So like when I've, you know, done the million random things that I've done, but like, you know, for example, just taking a marketing position or whatever, I have done everything I can to be like, you know, I'm going to make sure I'm there when they get home from school. And, you know, and is it always like super happy? Probably not, you know, but like at the same time, I want to be the presence when they're home from school. I want to be here in the morning. Like I don't, you know, and that has just worked for our family and it's worked for like what I've pursued and been able to like based off of like the jobs I've held or the businesses I've had. And so that's been something I've protected because of that. Because I think at the end of the day, like, does it really matter if you didn't watch them at field day? Because, you know, but if you can make it and it's in your schedule, I get it. But I also don't want, like, sometimes it's the more of like the, let it go. Like men don't carry the same guilt because maybe they are the provider, sure. But then it's like, because we're the emotional providers and all that. Right. But I think that like, I read this study years ago on like why men lose weight or stick to, even if they don't stick to their diet as heavily as a woman, they'll lose weight faster and more efficiently because they don't carry the same guilt. So if they mess up their diet, you're on the same diet, which is true. Cause it's like Kenny can go like give up Cokes that he doesn't really, and all of a sudden he's down 15 pounds and I will be like, I'll gain weight by eating healthier. And I'm like, great, this is great for me. Yeah. But the reason behind it is because like if they're on a diet and they eat a donut in the morning, they'll be like, oh, I enjoyed that donut. I messed up my diet. But you know what? By lunch, like I'll make adjustments. Or even if they don't, the next day they just start over. Right. Whereas women, what we do if we eat the donut by breakfast is we go, oh my gosh, I'm such a failure. Yeah. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that. I was on a diet and I messed it up. And then by lunch, you're like, man, and you carry added cortisol and added like just even. Oh my
gosh, you're speaking straight to me. I think
isn't that like crazy? Because it's like I think it's fascinating because we are such self-deprecating. Like, oh, I didn't do it enough. I wasn't there for field day, and I'm like, girl. First of all, your kid probably hasn't thought about it again. Second of all, you're there at home, made him cookies. Like we have to not just like give ourselves grace, but we have to adapt to the fact that like, man, we are far more involved. More like present than any other probably generation, but we have to let go of the like added like, okay, you didn't do this, but like, hey, you eat a salad for lunch. Exactly. Because I think it's just like this mental, like just weight of like, man, I should have done better. It's like goes with everything. But then men are like, yeah, I just didn't. So I might even eat a donut tonight and then call it a day. And then they'll start again the next day, you know, whereas women would be like, I failed. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No,
so I think it's more than giving ourselves grace. I think it has a lot to do with just like the weight we carry and like.
God, that's so true. Yep. No, that's a good point.
Okay. I know I shared too many random stories, but like they stick with me and I'm like, they're so important. Okay. There was this friend years ago that it was like after the Bible study, it was like this older woman that had come and she never talked like during, she was very, very quiet. And after Bible study, one of the days she was like, can I stay after for a little bit? And I was like, yes, of course. So we're sitting on the couch talking about how we fail as mothers and how we carry this guilt. And she tells me this story that as when her kids became adults, I forgot what she had done to like one of her sons, but she had carried it for like 15, 20 years of being like, I failed him. I should have and that
breaks my heart.
Well, so she was telling me this story just about how being like, I was so guilty over or felt so much guilt over this. Again, I don't remember the details, but and I one day looked at my son and I was like, I have to talk to you. And like, I am so sorry for what I did and I failed you and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, Mom, what are you talking about? And she was like, well, that instance and I have held on to this and I know it just probably is what broke you and blah, blah, blah. And he was like,
he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, Mom, you were incredible. What are you even talking about? You have to let that go. And she told me that God fills in the gaps. And I was like bawling because I pray that all the time too. Like where I fail because I'm never going to be enough. Like ever. But God, fill in the gaps. And I still get emotional because I no one had ever said that. And she was like, pray that God fills in the gaps. So we sat there and we prayed. And so it's like sometimes like when I know I feel like I failed my kids, I didn't act the way I wanted to. I wasn't there when I, whatever. And then I'm like, God, help them remember the good and fill in the gaps. Because it was just like crazy that she held on to this. She was and she was just like, and then he looks at me and he's just like, Mom, are you kidding?
Well, same thing. Like, I don't remember my mom not being there at certain things. She was there at all of the things that mattered. That I can remember.
Right. Like the big
things. And she, like you said, like she made sure, she was there on all the other parts of my life. She didn't have to be there during school. That, like what I mean?
Right. Well, and also our parents like did not come to school functions 80 times a week.
I will say
in the middle of the day and then remove you from school. It was like your last day of school. Have fun. Exactly. We'll see a half day. Exactly. Not like, can you pick me up at 9:30?
Exactly.
Like, wait, what?
That is true.
You just got there.
That is true.
So I think that's on us too. Like, some of that is like, dude, suck it up.
I know. I will say I am the parent that does feel guilty whenever my kid's like, ooh, you checking me out? And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Do I want to? No, I would like 2 more hours, you know, like, but no, but I like that. I really do like that. That was a good one.
Yeah. It's like, and it was so profound, like really like, and I'm so thankful she shared that because it's like, that's what I needed to hear. That's what I've carried with me now of just like, man, you know, let it go.
I love it. Let it go. I know. I always think of Frozen every single time I like hear that.
I know it's so hard not to now. It's like so ridiculous. But I think part of that too, like, and just to wrap up on that is just like that little segment of what she went through is sharing the part of life and motherhood and being a woman and whatever that I needed to hear. She's several generations probably older than me, but then it's like, you know, that is where a village is so important. We all want the village. We always like, where's the village? And then I'm like, well, are you creating one?
Yeah.
And I think it's like allowing people to love your kids, which I'm terrible at. I don't want my kids at other people's houses. I'd rather have them here, to be honest. So I'm like, your kids can come here. But it really is. It's like allowing people to be like, I'm okay. Like it'll be okay. And they are a safe spot. If they are, I think you really, really, really do have to be careful who you trust. But I think that like vetted quality people, and if you don't feel that way or you're mistrusting like I am, then like just have them at your house. But I think that like it's okay to let other people step in, and we do really bad at that. We want to control all of it.
Well, it comes back to the guilt. Like it comes back to like feeling guilt. For me, it comes back to feeling guilty that I need help, you know, like why, you know what I mean?
But you know, like I told Kenny initially when we first built this house, A, I thought we would never be here this long, but B, we only had 1 kid and we did 5 bedrooms. And he was like, I better hope, you know, like you better hope we have a ton of kids. And I go, and even if we don't, let's hope that the kids we do have bring their friends and this is a safe place. And we don't really have a ton of kids that come over inside the house. I feel like they come play outside, and I feel like that's just kids, you know, like, and I totally get it.
Which is good. That's a really good thing.
Yeah. And the other night was like one of the first nights that, you know, this kid was over and I was like, hey, have you eaten yet? And he's like, no. I'm like, come, like, you gonna eat dinner? Let's go. And so he came and he sat down at our dinner table because we always eat dinner together. And honestly, like my heart, like he's just eating and I'm like, do you want anything else? And he's like, I'll eat anything you put in front of me. And I'm like, cool. Aww. And he's just playing, but I felt like I got to ask him questions, like literally like my favorite, that's what I want so bad. But I know if someone was like, hey, can your kid eat here? I'd be like, no, are you kidding? No, he needs to come home. No, don't feed him. And it's not because I don't trust them. It has way more to do with me being like, no, you cannot supply my kid food. That means that I didn't do my job. And oh my gosh. But I didn't once. Like I wanted to feed that kid. I wanted to just be like, play, hang out. I want you to feel comfortable and safe and happy and loved. And I'm like, that is where we have to flip the script. You know, our village is here. We just suck at creating the community and we want to do everything for ourselves and not.
It's like we want to, we want to control it, or we want to feel like we're not doing our job. Right. You know, like, or we don't want to feel like we're not doing our job, you know, as a parent and stuff.
But I think the reality is again, it's like, God can fill in the gaps through other people. And it's like, I never once will ever think if I'm serving an extra kid. Listen, I'm feeding 4 freaking giant children plus a husband.
Your kids do eat a lot.
So much food.
You would be shocked. My kids are like bird eaters.
Everyone I know, his kids are bird eaters. And then I'm literally like, no wonder I'm drowning over here. No,
oh gosh. Well, JB, that would be his dream if all of his kids just ate a ton of crap.
Oh my gosh.
Like it boggles his mind because he loves food and needs it and stuff. And it boggles his mind that like our kids don't just devour like a whole pizza or whatever. And so as one walks by and it's like, ding. I love him.
They're like, I need food, probably is what their next quote.
But
what's one more? You know, what's 10 more? I'm like, you're already feeding, you're already making it. Like, let's serve others and then let them also serve us and create, like, just naturally creates like a that sense community. Of just like, hey, thanks for like helping out my kid, or like thanks for loving on him, because it doesn't have to be like, you know,
I agree. Profound. I love it. Yeah.
We'll get there.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for listening. This was fun.
Yes. And
thanks, Mom. Are you even listening? Because I don't even think my mom knows I have a podcast now that I make that joke. I don't even know Kenny knows I have a podcast.
Really?
I should probably tell him.
That's so funny. Yeah, my mom texted me the other day. She's like, "Oh, I enjoyed listening." Oh my gosh, yes, I loved it.
Oh
she
my
was like,
gosh,
"I enjoyed listening
so
to it."
That's
and yeah, it was so cute. It was so cute.
I should tell Kenny, "Hey, listen," and then he'll be like, "Please don't ever,
don't ever talk about me.
Talk again. What are you doing?" No, he does know we're doing it, but I don't think he knows
like it's out and
it's done. Because for so long we were like, "It's coming."
We've been working on it for quite a while. Yes,
it's coming.
Yes,
and then you're like, is it?
And
it's
boom,
been so fun.
It's here. Yes.
So, yeah, until next time,
I know.
We'll see what
Thanks for listening.
Comes up.
I know. We have so much to talk about, I think, in this conversation. So,
yeah,
we'll have to definitely continue this. Yeah. So much to learn. But, yeah. But thank you guys.
All right. Next time. We'll see you.